I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on our recycled candy pail. We're going to turn it into a Thanksgiving pumpkin. And have you ever got done with Halloween or bought some pumpkin pails and they just want to get new ones probably next year and you don't know what to do with the ones you have left behind? We're going to turn that into a really fun Thanksgiving centerpiece. And I'm going to start by just removing the handles off of my candy pail. And another great thing is if you don't have one that you wanted to recycle, wait till they go on clearance at the end of the Halloween season. You can get them real inexpensive, and other places sell smaller ones so you could have different sizes as well. It does not matter what color it is, that is fine. The first thing we're going to do is fill up our candy pail, and I'm going to use a rock, a bigger flat rock, to set it on. Is nice. It keeps it nice and stable and sturdy, and we want to put it full of whatever we want to fill it with, so if it gets dented, it's not going to dent or punch in. So we want to keep it as full as we can. I use plastic bags, paper, newspaper, wrapping, peanuts, all of the above to fill up my pumpkin. You want it really nice and tight and secure so it will last for years to come. And like I said, it just keeps that nice and stable so you don't get any dents in your pumpkin later on. In fact, I would like a little bit more. I went back and got a little bit more to stuff that with, so it's pretty good. And then we're going to take a large paper plate. You don't want this so much that's sticking over the top. And I'm going to take my edges off of my paper plate, but it needs to fit over the top of your pumpkin. Make sure it covers the opening of your pumpkin. You want it a pretty secure, not a real flimsy paper plate. So that should be on there. And then what we're going to do, my last one, I want to kind of show you. See how this guy is kind of square and you can kind of see his rim? We're going to fix that on this one. What we're going to do is we're going to actually cut up about 2 inches, about 2.5, 3 inches apart. And when we glue that down, that will secure it so that you won't get that ridge or that squareness top. You can see the one I have over here. It's a lot more rounded, and that looks a lot better. And try and get that pushed down a little bit better here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue this on, hot glue this on, and glue it on at least 3 sections throughout the pumpkin. So like one here, and one here, and then you can come back and glue the ones all around it. And I always try to do it too fast and not hold it down, and then it'll come back up. So I want you to hold it down for a while and just be patient. And get this one going here. So I've got both of those going, and then I'm going to do one more right there. And then once you get those 3, you should be able to come back and just start gluing all the rest of them on. I seem to be be pushing this down just a little bit on the edges. I pushed too hard on the pumpkin itself. I don't want the pumpkin bent in. So and trying to make that kind of even. I got this one a little bit crooked because I'm always in such a hurry to do it. And once we get the Mod Podge part on, it'll be stable and you won't have to worry. Now the next one that I'm going to be working on, I put sand in the bottom. And I like the weight of the sand. I just did not like the movement of the sand. And while you're putting the Mod Podge on, it can kind of leak on you. So I'll leave that up to you. If you'd rather try that, then go ahead. It does make it more of a sturdy base, I will say that. All right, now that we've got that all done, we're going to pick up our brown paper. And I tore it in sections on this. You don't have to. You could do it in smaller pieces. I just wanted a section all the way down. And I always tore it because I don't want straight lines. I don't want to see a straight line. So I kind of tore these. You could tear this all the way down. And I have a straight line on this side, but I think you'll kind of get the idea. And the brown paper bag, or brown paper, you could find in the shipping department, and I could usually find it at the dollar store. So think about looking for it there as well. And I will usually take a plate and I'll wet mine down. And it's easier to apply that way. And you can just run it through the bowl. Try not to make a big mess, just a little bit. You don't want it soggy, 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 but then it's more applicable. We're going to use our Mod Podge. Make sure the lid is on before you roll it. And rolling it mixes it up but doesn't get the bubbles in it. And here I go again with all the wild Mod Podge. And I always put the Mod Podge on to the section that I'm going to put it on first. Do the bottom last all by itself after the other part gets dried. And then I put the Mod Podge on to the item that I'm going to be putting it onto. And if you worked on a piece of paper or tray, it'll keep it from getting as messy. So you've already got two back-to-back Mod Podge, and you could even start it way up here if you've got that much room. And get that all the way on. And then once it's on, you want to do another layer. And you're just going to continue working all the way around. Now, if the water's too much, do it without the water. And just keep adding your layer upon layer. And make sure you don't have any of the candy pail showing through. And just cover that up and get that nice and tight. Try to get rid of any of the wrinkles if possible. And if you'd rather work it, see how that kind of wrinkled up there? If you'd rather work it like in 2/8 sections where you don't get any wrinkles, then do it that way. I'd like to get the ridges kind of in there. Kind of just put your brush in there and do it that way. Then you kind of got the pumpkin ridges in it as well. So go ahead, do that all the way around your pumpkin. You're going to get that really well. And I want to show you what this one looked like. And I like this guy just like this. I almost thought about just leaving him natural. I thought that was really, really pretty. And just putting some natural looking leaves up on top as well, and doing him that way instead. But I'm going to take this guy out. I'm going to spray varnish or spray paint him now with gold paint because it's fast and quick. And then we're going to go ahead and finish painting him and everything. So I'm going to go get that on, let that dry, and then we'll start from there. Alright, I went outside and spray painted my pumpkin and it's all nice and dry. And I used just a metallic spray paint, whatever a cheap kind is. It doesn't really matter what brand or anything is. And I'm going to go ahead and put some texture underneath this right now before we put our other paint on it. And I'm going to be using my texture brush, and this is a Miriam Joy exclusive on my site at miriamjoy.com. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling my paint out and I'm pouncing into it so I don't get solid paint. And as you can see, it comes out with this different, unique texture. And I do like the texture, and it does show up even through the paint that I'm putting on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple light colors of this. And I'm using Adobe and Pueblo, kind of clay colors is what they look like. So any kind of brown, orangish, reddish. I got one that's a little bit more orangish, and then I'm going to go over with one that's a little bit more reddish. But that kind of clay look. So I'm just pouncing that on, like I said, with my texture brush. And this is designed for wax, but it works well for paint as well. And I keep one just for my paint. You just rinse it out in the water just like you would a paintbrush, clean it out, and switch colors after you've put that first color on. And I'm going to come back in here now and do my Adobe, and that would just kind of give it a reddish color. And on my first one I kind of did yellow, but I'm using yellow later too, so I wanted kind of some undertone colors to my pumpkin. And I'm not going to worry about the bottom because it's going to be setting, but go up next to that so you have all that. So I'm going to finish all the way around with that, let that dry really, really well, and then we'll start putting our paint on. Alright, now that our paint has dried from our texture brushes, we're going to go ahead and apply the paint to the rest of our pumpkin. And I just want to let you know I'm using any type of acrylic paint. It doesn't matter the brand. Whatever brand you like is good. It's just acrylic paint. I used pumpkin and a school bus yellow, so a bright yellow on this part here. And I'm going to teach you a different painting method. I'm going to be using, this is what we call the Miriam Joy Craft Cleanup Brush. And that's not always easy to say. And I use this to scrub my hands, I scrub my plate, anything I need cleaned, I clean up with this, but I'm also going to teach you how just to paint with it as well. So I'm going to pull a little of this paint out of our main part there. Never, when you're working with paint, never dip right in unless you're base coating, and then you kind of still pull it out a little bit. So we're going to pull that a little bit to the side, and I'm going to start on my bottom part, and we're going to get these lines with this brush. And I want to get the very bottom base first so that we can work forward after that, and I won't have to worry about whether I got the bottom part done or not. And we're not doing it solid. We still got some yellow to put in as well, and we want some of the gold to show through. So now that I've got that done, I'm just going to come in here and we're just going to start pulling that up and down. Start in the middle, take it both ways, start at the top, start at the bottom, however you think that should go. There is no right or wrong with that. And you can get these on my website at miriamjoy.com. If you don't want to do that, you could kind of use a dry brush method. Your brush with no water, just paint and kind of put that on nice and dry and pull it if you wanted to. And I wanted to use pumpkin because I want to get the pumpkin color, the main part of the pumpkin. And don't paint the top yet because your hand's going to get into it. So we've just kind of gone here and there. And I'm going to put a little bit more just where I want it. Just do it how you kind of like it. Like I said, there is no right or wrong. It's just how you see it done. Okay. And I don't think I'm even going to put that top part in until I get my yellow. And I'm not going to worry about washing my brush yet. I'm just going to flip to the other side. And we're going to put some yellow in as well. I'm not going to put as much yellow as I did the rest, the orange, because I want my pumpkin more the orange color. And we still want some of that gold showing through. So we're not trying to cover it all up. But we do want the majority of it. And you might find that you really like painting this way and think of other things you wanted to paint like this. It just gives it a different look. Keep your fingers out of it, because where you touch it, while the paint is wet, you will have your finger spots there. And you can always come back and add more. Don't worry about that. You can always add more. So it's probably better to have a little bit less than too much. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and finish my top. And I'm just going to bring it across. Make sure you run into the side so it looks like you didn't start or stop at the sides. Just bring that all the way across. We're going to put stuff on top of it, so we're not really worried about it. I'm putting my yellow back into it. Alright, that's it. It's really that simple. It's not hard to paint it at all. I really like the look of it. I'm going to let this dry completely, and we're going to decorate it. Now, I did not spray varnish this because I kind of like the shiny with the matte look. If you wanted it all shiny, then spray varnish it with your satin or your gloss, and then you would get all one shiny, nice color. But I didn't think that I wanted that. I kind of wanted the two different shining levels there. So I'm going to leave mine just like that, and we'll assemble that all together, and we'll be done. Now that our paint has dried, we're going to go ahead and do our stem. And I went outside and I just picked up some different size branches. Just make sure whatever end you're going to put on is nice and flat. And you can decide if you want a big one or a small stem, whatever you want. I'm going to try the little bit larger stem here. See if I can get this guy to stick on. If you don't have any, you also could use your paper twist here. That's another option for you as well. So you've got that you can do there. I just thought a real big stem might be a statement piece. And then we're going to go ahead and put our ribbon on. I'm going to use some more Thanksgiving themed ribbon. And I'm going to start and twist it and make a loop and twist it so that your top side comes back on top, and make a loop and twist it. You're doing half a turn on your twist. Since this one is bigger ribbon, I'm only going to do 3 loops on each side. My other gold, I did 5. And you may like the gold better. That's up to you. Just really thought this has a Thanksgiving feel to it. And then the last one, I want to twist it so that that is pointing towards the front. Now I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, put it through my fingers so I can go right between there. And get that around that nice and tight. And twist that. And then we have our bow. Now you also could make these longer to come down farther on your bow if you wanted to as well. I'm going to bring one side down just a little bit further than the other side. And I like to use pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners are really easy to use, and you could have used half of a pipe cleaner on this project instead of wire. They're just easier to handle. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the remainder of that. And then I'm going to put it on this side over here. And set that under. Now I'm going to hold that there for just a moment to let that glue kind of harden up. We're going to bend those pieces down. You could even glue them on place if you wanted to glue them in place. Let's see if my leaves go with my ribbon now. So we're going to put some leaves over here. And I have these fall leaves. It seems like every year they come out with new ones, and I always find my favorites. I love these this year. I found these at Michael's. And I'm going to use a couple of those and maybe one of the red. And what I'm going to do, so my leaves don't lay flat right there, is I'm going to put a little bit of Spanish moss just across there, so I have something to kind of set my leaves up on. So like I said, they don't lay flat. And I kind of stick that one just like that. Would be perfect if I could get him to sit up just like that. Trying to do it where I can show you as well as see it on my own. And if you hold the middle and not push the sides, a lot of times they'll stand up easier. And we'll decide if we want that red one in here, or if we think we should stick with just the orange. I don't know. I think because of the bow, if I did the other bow, I might do the different colored. This guy's got a little bit different color on him. I like a variety of colors, not just one solid color. So now that we've got those on, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit more Spanish moss just on the top of those. What the Spanish moss does is gives us that curl, that kind of viney feel. You don't need that much, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to see about putting a little bit of a berries or a pick in there just to finish that piece off. And this part is too big for that, so I'm just going to put some berries in that. And I'm also going to put a little bit of a wire twist in there, and again, we're just making it, giving it that real viney feel. And my other one, I have these go up quite a ways. My other pumpkin there, and when this is floral wire. I find it at the Dollar Tree in the floral section. You also can use craft wire. When you wrap it around your pencil, make sure you're not wrapping it so tight that you can't get it off. And that can always be fun if you wrap it that tight. And I always try to get you to tuck your ends in so that they're not sharp. And I'm going going to make this into 2 pieces, and you can have it, doesn't have to go straight up and down, kind of curl around back and forth. And we're going to glue that back behind there and tuck that in. Turn that around once I get it on there. And that is our recycled candy pail pumpkin, Thanksgiving pumpkin. Isn't that really pretty? I do like that ribbon. I wasn't quite sure about that over the gold. The nice thing is with the gold, you can use Christmas ribbon or whatever you want to on that. But that's going to be really pretty on the table for Thanksgiving. So I really hope you enjoyed that. I'd love to hear from you. You can always email me if you have any questions at art@miriamjoy.com. Thank you. Have a blessed Thanksgiving.